EMZT Radio is brought to you by Audible. Get a free audio download and a free 30-day trial at audibletrial.com/EMZT. Over 180,000 titles to choose from for your iPhone, Android, Kindle, or MP3 player.
Welcome to another episode of EMZT Radio. I'm Bane Hellborn with my partner, the infamous MJ.
Oh my God. Okay.
Thank you. What?
I don't know. I have no idea. Are you awake now?
I'm here.
I know you're here. That was a question of the audience. Are you awake now?
Oh, are you awake?
Yeah.
Wake up!
Yeah, does it sound like a...
Okay.
Anyways.
Okay, starting off. Lin Shaye joins new reimagining of The Grudge. Yes, once again, The Grudge is being redone by, let's see, Lin Shaye's been called the godmother of horror. That's interesting.
Do we have to have another one, though? Do we have to have another Grudge remake?
It's, they're calling it a reimagining, so they're somehow changing the story a little bit, yeah.
Oh my God, yeah. It's a reimagining. Oh.
The Grudge is up for a reboot.
It's a goddamn remake. Just say remake.
Again.
Quit fucking with me and just say remake. I'm so sick and damn tired of, it's a reimagined version. What could it possibly be?
Yeah,
what could it possibly be reimagined? Oh, she's not in the shower this time. She jumps out the toilet.
So there's no definite word on what it's going to be and who's involved, but she's on board now.
You cannot see. I wish this was on video so people could see how hard my eyes were rolling at the moment. Believe me, they're rolling very hard.
How about this? Happy Death Day to You release date moved due to the anniversary of the Parkland shooting. One of the fathers of a girl that was shot and killed at Parkland made a stink all over social media about it.
Geez.
So, number one, they moved the release to February 13th because the anniversary is on the 14th, and it's not being shown in Parkland at all.
Oh, good. Screw who cares?
Yeah.
I'll go see it.
Yeah.
I don't care. I'll go see it. So, you know what?
Yeah. And plus, it was all set for Valentine's.
Yeah, it's almost like a Valentine's Day themed Happy Death Day anyways.
Yeah, it is.
On you.
So there's that. So Parkland, you're not getting it, so relax.
Yeah. Kiss it.
And number 3, I don't know how you feel about, remember the 1990s with The Witches?
The Witches?
Remember with Angelica Houston?
Yeah, I remember The Witches now, yeah.
Well, guess what?
It's getting a reboot too!
Robert Zemeckis has signed on to do it. And who's going to be the Grand High Witch this time?
Please stop with the remake.
Anne Hathaway is going to be the Grand High Witch.
Oh, please stop. Please stop.
I know.
Remakes. Okay.
And then there was also a footnote that
Roald Dahl,
the writer of the story, absolutely hated the movie.
Yes.
Hated it.
Okay.
He hated it.
Good for him.
He hated the original movie. So
I'm glad he hated it.
Yeah.
Good for him.
So Robert Zemeckis, it looks like he's going to try to make it closer to the book. It's going to be set in the 60s, and
then you know what? That's acceptable. If you're gonna do it, and it's gonna be closer to the book, that's acceptable.
I hope that's what it's gonna be. But yeah, they're giving that a try. So,
but you know what?
That's my news.
I have non-remake news.
Non-remake
I actually have new content coming to HBO.
Oh, Tell us all about it.
Yes, that's right. HBO will answer the challenge of Amazon Prime and will release Folklore. This will be on HBO Now, HBO Go, HBO On Demand, and you basically, if you have some kind of access to HBO, you will be able to see this. All 6 episodes take place across multiple Asian countries, including Indonesia, Japan, Korea, Malaysia, Singapore, and, of course, our favorite little getaway of Thailand. Well, my favorite little getaway of Thailand. Anyways. Each episode is based on each country's deeply rooted superstitions and myths and presented in the local language of the country that episode is based in. Yes, there will be subtitles.
Okay, good.
Yeah, there'll be subtitles. So there we go, kids. We've got new stuff coming out in the big boys. But I have one bit of video game news, and then I have the greatest news of all time.
Okay.
Retro-inspired pixel horror title Faith will have a sequel.
Oh.
And it's coming out next month. It's called... Are you ready for this? Are you sitting down for this shocking title? Faith, Chapter 2.
Woo.
The main influences...
So original.
Yes. The main influences for Erdorf's satanic series are clear to see. The Exorcist! The Exorcist! And it's looking suitably creepy with such a simplistic visual style. Now, if the trailer doesn't give you a hint, here's basically the plot of the game. You're going back to September 21st, 1986. 2 priests arrive at the Martin family home in rural Connecticut to investigate an apparent case of demonic possession. Where the fuck have I heard that before?
Constantine?
Only 2 people will leave the house alive. After confronting unspeakable dark entities and narrowly escaping with his life, a young priest descends into a new nightmare!
Whoa.
Actually, you know what, though? Seriously.
It doesn't sound bad.
It sounds awesome, and I will be purchasing this game. I hope it's on Xbox.
I'm sure it will be.
So, I mean, even if it's on the computer, I have a decent computer that can play it. But I'll have to send you the link to the Bloody Disgusting article because you have to see this. It'll be in the show notes. And we'll also have the trailer on Trailer Thursdays, which by the time this podcast comes out, that was last Thursday. So just look on our Facebook page if you want to see the trailer. Yeah. It looks beautiful, and some of the demons that you see are just mind-boggling creepy for 8-bit.
Nice.
Yes. And now, the greatest news of all time.
Waiting.
The Salem Horror Fest has made an announcement. An earth-shattering, beautiful, everything is wonderful, everything is sunshine and rainbows. I am just so... Oh my... I will walk to Salem, Massachusetts to go to this. Wednesday, October the 9th. Mark it on your calendars. Mark it in blood on your calendars. Don't even bother with the pen. Prick your finger. Cut whatever you got to. Yes, I'm advocating self-harm right now. But for a good cause. Write it in blood. The Pope of Trash is coming to Salem. October the 9th. My God, my muse, my whole religion, John Waters, is going to be at the Salem... Please don't put out a restraining order against me, John.
No, he just wants a selfie.
Yes, that's all. I'll give him a selfie. I'll give him more than a selfie. Yes, John Waters will be at Salem Horror Fest this year, October the 9th. Now, tickets begin at $49 But you have to get them before March 20th if you want the $49 deal. Otherwise, it's $60 after March 20th. A VIP ticket's $199. Obviously, you have to pay fees with this, so it's not just $199. Be prepared. Taxes and fees, yeah. But get this, with your $199 premium seating, you get a meet and greet photo, which means you get a signed 8x10 and a personalized signed copy of his new book, Mr. Know-It-All, The Tarnished Wisdom of a Filth Elder.
So the ticket price pays for a copy of his book, too?
Yes.
Okay.
So, I mean, that's worth $200 right there, is a signed copy of his book. I mean, this is like a Bible for many of us filth addicts. I love me some John Waters, man. I love
those were the days.
Waters. Yeah. So, did you hear, by the way, that Dario Argento is out speaking on the new Suspiria?
Yeah, I saw that.
And
he's not thrilled.
He is not a fan.
Not a fan. He is not happy with it. Yeah.
Yeah. And I kind of feel this way too. Although I liked it, I loved the soundtrack. Don't get me wrong. I loved the soundtrack. I liked the new Suspiria, but I agree with Dario on this, that it did not excite me. It betrayed the spirit of the original film. There is no fear. There is no music. The film has not satisfied me much.
I haven't seen it yet. So
Argento added that Suspiria, however, is a refined film, and that the director, who I am not going to try to hack his name, is a fine person.
Okay.
So there you go. And no, we do not have to talk about Ghostbusters news. We're not going to feed into that mob. Okay, we're not feeding into that mob.
Nope.
But if you want to read the comments, go ahead and read the comments. We're not going to sit here and go, "Oh my God, Leslie Jones clapping back." No, no.
No.
Sorry, kids. We don't do that here. We're not those kinds of people. Because I don't really have an opinion on it. I don't either. No, I don't have an opinion on it.
I don't either.
I want to say something, but it's not right.
No.
And
no.
To be honest with you, well, all right. I'll go ahead and say what I got to say about it. I want to say she's a little bitter. But
Okay.
But there's a part of me that kind of understands where she's coming from, but there's another part of me and a bigger part of me that says she's just mad that nobody liked their version of Ghostbusters. And to be perfectly blunt with you, there's only one person you need to blame for that, Leslie, and it's probably the bane of our existence on this podcast, Paul Feig.
Yeah.
Okay, that's all we're going to say on that.
Yeah, he's the one who fucked it all. Sorry.
Yes.
He did.
Yes. So I just wanted to bring that up because I don't know. Officially we don't have an opinion on it.
No.
Okay.
No.
So please don't get me wrong. I'm not crapping on her, but at the same time, I can kind of, yeah.
But she's wrong. She's mad at the wrong person.
She is. She's mad at the wrong people. And
Yeah,
I think she, Feig sabotaged Ghostbusters with his, well, if you don't like this, you hate women.
Yeah. Yeah.
Bullshit.
If he had just shut his fucking mouth about things like that, he's the one who fucked their whole campaign.
Yeah.
So,
and to be honest, all right, I'm going to say this right now. I think Leslie Jones is an okay actress.
Yes.
Okay? I think she's funny. She has her moments where she's funny. I think Melissa McCarthy has moments where she's funny. It's just the problem is it was too much of trying to force. I felt like I was watching an Amy Schumer movie.
Oh, yeah.
To be blunt, I felt like I was watching an Amy Schumer movie. And I was literally sitting there waiting for 30 my vagina jokes. I do my vagina jokes because men talk about their dicks all the time. Well, not really. I don't know that many comics that talk about their dick. Male comics that talk about their dick.
Mm-hmm.
You think it's the person, Blondie. I forgot her name now. Are the female Louis C.K.
Uh-huh.
And that's definitely something I don't want to get into is Louis C.K.
Nope.
I think he's a piece of shit. But I've thought that for years. Anyways. No, I'm not trying to get into it. I'm just that has been my opinion since I was like 19 years old that Louis C.K. is a piece of shit. Okay? I mean,
I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan.
When you're talking about raping dead babies and you're way before all this shit hit the fan. Anyways, moving on. I got one more for you
Okay.
And I know Sarah's probably listening to this podcast, and so is Jasmine. Ladies, prepare a room for us, please. we will all be going to this, okay? Film festival in Sweden is offering screenings of an apocalyptic film you have to watch inside a coffin.
Oh.
My dream has come true. Watching a movie inside a coffin.
Now, is it an individual coffin, or is it one big enough for a few people, or what are we talking about?
This is an individual coffin.
Okay.
Via THR, the Hollywood Reporter, that is, for those of you not in the know of the shorthand. The Gothenburg Film Festival in Sweden, so we have to go on the other side of the country from our friends Bitches of Horror. Beginning January 27th, we'll be offering up 33 sarcophagus screenings of Aniara, a Swedish-language apocalyptic sci-fi film.
Wow.
The site details these are highly unusual screenings wherein 8 volunteers at a time will be shut into specially made caskets outfitted with screens, speakers, and obviously air vents. So no, you're not going to get buried alive.
Right.
Sorry. Yes. Pelle Kegerman and Hugo Leja directed Ariana, wherein a spaceship carrying settlers to Mars is knocked off course, causing the consumption of obsessed passengers to consider their place in the universe. And there is a trailer for this that you can find on our Facebook page because it was part of Trailer Thursday.
Wow. That sounds like fun.
Yeah. So, Aniara. Actually, I kind of want to see the movie just based on what it is.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. But I mean, the coffin thing, 8 coffins at a time.
8 coffins at a time showing the movie.
Yeah.
I have an idea for a home theater now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I am so if EMZT ever gets it to where we're making $10 million a year. That's exactly how my horror viewing room is going to be. You'll be in a coffin.
In a coffin.
Watching horror movies in a coffin. That is a life's dream of mine.
Sounds nice.
Yes.
Oh.
Yes, it is. It's a life's dream of mine. But anyways, we have a guest this week, don't we?
Oh yes, we have an interview and a guest this week. Woo, yeah.
Yes, for you, a fella Arizonian. Is that what they call you guys, Arizonians?
Arizonans.
Yeah, a fellow Arizonian, Ian Messenger, is going to pop up and say hello.
Yeah.
And talk about some of his future and past projects. So we'll talk to him. What else are we doing today? Probably going fishing. I don't know.
No, we have more music from the Dead Air soundtrack.
That is true. We have been, and we want to thank those people.
Yes.
Jeff Harmer, thank you very much. And Jeff is an awesome dude because now I didn't get the perk with the soundtrack. I went a level lower. you got the perk with the soundtrack.
Yes.
Had a little bit of an issue, and Jeff personally took care of it.
Yes, he did. It was very, very nice.
So awesome news that you got your soundtrack, and Jeff is a hell of a guy, and we're going to give him all the credit in the world. So thank you very much, Jeff. And Ian Messenger, a little bit later on EMZT. Let's spin some records.
As night descends, the footsteps come, hard with travel, hurt with haste, storm above close, steadfast eyes, screams ring out as steel finds its home. Till I die, I'll hold the way. Till strife, I rouse from my rest. Ravens call on wings, they come to gather up your broken pieces, bleeding hearts. Feed the earth, heed my call, I'll lead you home. Till I die, I'll hold the way. Till I fall, I'll stand my ground. Till we die, we'll guard the way. Till we fall, we'll stand our ground.
Suddenly, I heard a tapping, as of someone gently rapping at my chamber door.
Chronicity, a state of prolonged duration, recurrent, habitual, chronic.
A new mini-series on chronic pain and illness by your friends Matt and Phil from Semi-Intellectual Musings.
We go beyond medical diagnosis to explore the often forgotten political, social, and personal sides.
You'll hear stories from extraordinary people overcoming extraordinary challenges.
Authors, entrepreneurs, volunteers, coaches, and caregivers.
They are so much more than their diagnoses, yet each have found ways to persevere.
You'll also hear some familiar voices from the indie podcast community,
showing that art, creativity, and passion are possible while living in chronicity.
These stories and more, starting April 1st at thesim.podbean.com.
EMZT Radio is brought to you by Audible. Get a free audiobook download and a 30-day free trial at www.audibletrial.com/EMZT. Over 180,000 titles to choose from for your iPhone, Android, Kindle, or MP3 player. For you, the listeners of EMZT Radio Podcast, Audible is offering a free audiobook download with a free 30-day trial to give you the opportunity to check out their service. That's audibletrial.com/EMZT.
This is Lucan Wolf, and you're tuned in to the delightful darkness of EMZT Radio.
From Instagram, posted by Mr. Terror. In Corona, California, there once was a road known by most locals as the Never-Ending Road. Specifically, the road's true name was Lester Road. Now, over 20 years later, the landscape of Corona has changed and the Never-Ending Road is no more. However, years ago, Lester Road was an unlit road that people claimed became a never-ending road when driven at night. The people who made such a drive were never seen or heard from again. The legend became so well known that people refused to even drive Lester Road during the day. One night, like many teens my age, I drove up Lester Road, but only a short distance, and in my headlights it did look like it went on forever. Frightened, I quickly turned around because if I continued up the road I thought I might never return again. Perpetuation of the legend convinced the local law enforcement to investigate. Lester Road took a sharp left turn at its end, and there were no guardrails. Beyond the curve lay a canyon, and on the other side of the canyon was another road that lined up so well with Lester Road that when viewed from the correct angle, especially at night, the canyon vanished from sight, and the road seemed to continue on up and over the hill on the other side of the canyon. Upon investigation of the canyon, dozens of cars were found, fallen to their doom, with the decomposing bodies of the victims still strapped to their seats.
You know, you're like a penguin on the North Pole. Here's the South Pole. It's really nice this time of year.
There are no penguins on the North Pole.
You want to feel how hard I can punch?
Hey everyone, this is Bowmine Bob from Bowling with Bobcat. You can listen to me live every Monday night at 10 p.m. Eastern at sfgradio.com, where I'm bringing you the best of the worst in cheap booze, talking bum wine, beers, 40s, malt liquor, and more. Always featuring the latest and greatest in the world of drinking and entertainment, along with some special guests. So come on down and take a ride with Bumwine Bob. If you can't be there live, you can always listen in the archives at bumwinebob.com. So sit back, relax, grab a drink, and enjoy. Cheers.
The show that puts the story back into history.
History is all about discovering the why, and I think that in that process, it's important to never take the story out of history.
Making history come alive, one episode at a time.
But this is a podcast on the American Revolution for this series, and it's all about a free country, so do whatever the hell you want.
Visit TheMondayAmerican.com to get more. Dive into the Monday American. Don't worry, we'll be gentle.
Listen to them. The children of the light. What sweet music, my Mike.
Keep calm and don't go swimming. Don't have sex. Don't smoke. Don't drink. Don't go out. Don't split up. Don't run from the killer. If you trip, get up and run, and above all, turn on the stupid light before entering any room. Unless you do want to die. Just some friendly tips to save your life in a horror movie. From your friends at EMZT Radio. And we're back.
Yep, we're back.
And today we have Ian Messenger from Catch Me, Kill Me Productions. Hello, Ian.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Hey, thanks for being here. I hear we're in the same state.
Well, if you're in Arizona, then we're in the same state.
Yes, I'm in Arizona too.
Yeah, I've been here the majority of my life, like 30 years. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I was raised here, yes. Which I can say almost over 40.
Oh, my.
Yeah, I'm actually older than I sound.
Oh.
Well, that's a first. I've never heard that before.
So, Ian, what are we talking about today? Fireside Tales?
Yeah, whatever you want to talk about. I've got a lot of home in my resume, so I got a lot of things coming up. So I'm an open book. Yep, we can start there if you want.
Well, I was gonna say because I haven't seen it, but I saw the trailer, and it's coming soon to Amazon. I saw. And...
Yeah, well, there's something kind of in the pipeline to talk about it yet, so it may not hit Amazon. So, but we'll see. We'll see.
Okay. So what do you have coming up that you can talk about?
Well, so we did Fireside Tales a couple years back, 2015, and then that was our first real feature. And then we followed that with Monkey Farm, and we went on to do Legacy, which is, to my knowledge, the highest viewed Friday the 13th fan film on YouTube right now. And yeah, and then we to start working on Fireside Tales 2, and that's currently what I'm in production on.
Oh, yeah, I watched your Friday the 13th Revenant last night. That was really cool.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, so Revenant goes right into Friday the 13th Legacy, and when you watch the two movies together, it makes sense. But Friday the 13th Legacy right now sits at 9.1 million views.
Jeez.
Yeah. I don't know how it happened. People watched it all the time, and it went out pretty well. A couple hundred views here and there every week, and then it started catching overseas. It looked like, and it was at that point it's thousands of views a day, and then it got to the point where it's doing 100,000 views a day, and it just blew up.
Yeah, you did very well with it. I was just amazed, and it even felt like a gritty 80s. It felt like the original 80s Friday the 13th style.
Thank you. Thank you. That was always the goal. I've always wanted to do a Friday the 13th movie. Years ago, when I first started making movies, my brother called me up and he's like, "Hey," he's like, "I got a weird story to tell you. I might have a brain tumor. I don't know." And he's like, "I woke up this morning thinking, man, Ian, you were really good in Friday the 13th, Jason Takes Manhattan." And then he's like, "Oh wait, you weren't in that." And it's all like, I'm gonna have to make a Jason movie one day. So I made two, and both are pretty well received. But Legacy blew up huge. Revenant was very much a passion project. It came first, and I had a little more fun with Revenant. The '80s grain and the blips in the film and the cigarette burns. But yeah, no, I had a lot of fun with both those.
So, was it like a camera setting to get that style of filming?
No, it's a filter, yeah, which is, I know that's not as cool. It's just a filter, but yeah, it's just a filter. I was talking to my buddy and editor at the time, still friends. He's just, real life takes over, so he's not editing for us. But I talked to him and I was like, "Hey, is there a way we can make this look like you found this in like somebody's wet basement on a VHS tape?" And he's like, "Yeah, absolutely." And he sent me one of the trailers, and I think it's the one where Elias Voorhees takes the sling off and the moon's behind him. And he sent that to me, and I was like, "Oh my God, this is it!" and we did Revenant just like that, and I showed it to a bunch of people, and the true, the true blue horror thing and that, and I showed it to my dad, and he's like, yeah, I lived through the 60s and the 70s and the 80s, and I really like that there's none of that grain on anything I watch today, so don't do that again. And I was like, oh, okay. Yeah, okay. He's like, I grew up with that, don't like it, please don't make your movies grainy. And I was like, okay, fair enough.
No, that actually made it awesome. That's what made it awesome. I felt like I was watching an original Friday the 13th film. It was great. I loved it.
Yeah, that was just one of the really make people feel back like they were a kid on a Saturday night in the 80s, and maybe early 90s. Briggs is hosting Monster Vision. You're watching that. That's what I was going for, and the horror community really liked it. So, and that's what's important.
Definitely, you did great with it. Great idea. Keep it up. I'd say keep doing that. Do this more as a series, and people are gonna love it.
Yeah, there's for a project right now. As we finish Fireside Tales 2, on the independent level, you always have to be working, and so I'm kind of processing my next thought on what's coming next, and we're gonna do something similar for the next feature film after Fireside Tales 2. Not quite the 80s grain, something you haven't seen in a while, and I think people are gonna get a big kick out of it.
Okay. So, so Fireside Tales 2, how many tales are in this one?
Tales, yeah.
How many tales are in the new one?
Right now we have one filmed, one's completely shot, and we have, 3 of them written. So right now we're sitting at 4, and if I get inspired, I might add. We'll see. The wraparound story is going to be pretty cool in this one. Last time we did it with a bunch of kids. They were like in their 20s. I don't know why I said kids, but horror movie, they're supposed to be teenagers. Yeah, they're kids. But it's a bunch of kids sitting around fire telling stories. And with this one, we're actually kind of doing something a little different. And the devil is going to be there, and you're going to enter the devil's curio shop, and he's going to pull out one of these curiosities, and each curiosity ties into one of the stories we see in the movie. So that's going to be really fun. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I like the idea.
I was thinking about, I know it's not technically a Fireside Tale at that point, but you gotta change it up a little bit.
So, where do you get your ideas for these tales?
In my head. I don't know. I'll be driving to work or something, the day job thing, or I'll watch a movie and something in the movie will trigger something in me, and I'll go, oh man, and I'll think about it, on the drive to work. It depends. Back in the day, my dad, he would tell me scary stories, and then my brother would tell me scary stories, and they've always just been kind of in there, and I would always think about, how to make that story better, or how to tell it in a different way. So it's just, I'm basically thinking about monsters. Long story short, quick answer, I'm always thinking about monsters.
And I was going to say, Arizona has some interesting stories, too, that you can draw from.
Yeah, we have...
like you did Monkey Farm. Monkey Farm was actually done here.
Yeah, the story, actually, here in Arizona, which is super, super weird when you look into it. And then when I started production on Monkey Farm, all of these news articles about and TV spots on the West Mesa Monkey Farm, and it was really weird because I don't know if somebody at the news station had seen the production stills or something that got interested, but right when I started making it, there was a lot of news on it, and it was weird. If you check the county recorder, I think if you check with them, the property is abandoned, but if you there, it clearly has primates in it still. Like you can see them from a distance. And there's always vehicles entering, exiting the property, but it's registered as an abandonment. So who knows? Who knows for sure? I took a guess with what's going on inside with Monkey Farm, and I think it's a good guess. Yeah,
I really loved it. So you did great.
Good. Thank you very much. It was fun. I started writing it, came up with the idea. I saw an article on it, and I was like, ooh, what if it's like this? And while writing it, my producer, Tim Faddick, he was talking to me at lunch one day, and he's like, so who's going to be the monkey? And I was like, I don't really know. And he's like, you're going to be the monkey. And I was like, oh, because I'm kind of like I'm kind of like a silverback gorilla. A lot of gym time, like 5'10", which is basically a midget nowadays.
Yeah.
It made me kind of squat and thick enough for it, and it was fun. I got in contact with Immortal Masks out of California, and they're always fun to work with. The majority of my friends and them actually, and I asked them, what we could do, and they gave me an idea for the chest piece and the hands, and they already have an mask made, so they did it up, and it was really fun. But silicone or not, it gets hot, especially filming in Arizona. The beginning of summertime, I was in that suit, and it was nighttime, and we were filming the scene. I don't want to give spoilers. Death scene in the underpass, and we were out there for maybe an hour, not too long, and we get done. I lean over at the waist, and water begins to pour out of the mouth, and somebody goes, "Oh no, are you puking?" And I was like, "No." And they're like, "That is a lot of sweat." And I was like, "Well, if you want to wear this, we can trade at any point." Because but it was like a river of sweat just came.
Oh, I believe it.
It was something.
Oh, that must have been unbearable.
It had its moments. I personally, I don't mind being in a monster suit. I work with a lot of independent actors, and on the independent level, it's very hard to do your stunts and do things like that properly all the time. And so basically, what my rule of thumb is I will never ask you to do something that I myself will not do. When we're filming Fireside Tales, there's a monster reveal where one of the monsters comes out of a lake. And originally it was another actor, and day before filming, he was like, "Oh, I can't do it." And I was like, "Oh, okay." So he's a little taller than I am, but I was like, I'll just take over.
Mm-hmm.
So I ended up putting on a pair of coveralls and the button-up shirt and the silicone mask, and basically go ahead and just picture something out of Hills Have Eyes. And I went to the lake, and I fully submerged myself, but because of the silicone mask and the coveralls, it ended up making me really buoyant, and it pulled me right back up to the top. So I had to go back out, and I was talking to my cameraman, and I was like, "I don't know what we're going to do." And he's like, "Well, I have sandbags to hold down the tripod for still shots.
Uh-huh.
Do you want your sandbags?" And I was like, "Sure." So I take two of these 10-pound sandbags in one of my hands, and I walked back out, and I stayed submerged, and we ended up doing that shot, I think 4 or 5 times. Yeah, and it was something. I didn't have a oxygen tank or a respirator or anything with me. It was literally just me holding my breath as I got underwater and counting out in my head to when I thought he was filming, and I'd come back out, and he didn't. I remember one time he just like, "Oh, the shot," and he's like, "But it was the water created too many waves, so go back and do it again." But this was you're from Arizona, Seal. It was early March when we were filming that, and so it was still super cold, and that water was absolutely freezing.
Yes.
Just fun. But it was the last thing we filmed that day, so it wasn't terrible. So it was all right. It was fun though. But yeah, I'd never ask an actor to do something I myself wouldn't do. So I do my best to get in the monster suit once or twice, or recently to when I'm filming. Jason and Elias Voorhees in Revenant and Legacy. I actually was the stun Elias Voorhees. I wasn't the unmasked Elias Voorhees, but I did the stunts for that. And in Legacy, the one with all the views, the big view count, I was Sarah Schultz, goes by Jessica Stabbit, real big in the Mad Monster scene. I think she was Miss Mad Monster 2017.
Mm-hmm. Right.
I was on with her, and it was her first role, like not music video, but like film role. And we had ordered prop 2x4s, and they didn't come in. And so we got on set, and I was talking to a couple of the actors, and Mark Justice was one of them. And I said, "Mark, what do you think we should do?" He's like, "Well, I saw the 4s laying over here," and he goes, because he was the one I was supposed to use it on. He's like, "So just use that, and we'll figure out a way to make it look like you're really getting me." So we movie magicked it. Didn't actually hit him with a 2x4, but now here's the problem. Sarah had to hit me with the 2x4.
Uh-oh.
Same 2x4. And I was like, okay. So me and her husband, Josh Schultz, the Wicked one, that's his rap name. He's big, I think it's horrorcore. I don't listen to rap music a lot, but I think he's a hard rapper. He's pretty big on that Mad Monster scene too. But they were there. Mark was there. Tim Christie plays Tommy Jarvis in the movie, and we were all discussing how we're going to do this. So finally, it just came down to it, and I was like, "Well, we did it, I think, 4 times, and she wasn't oomph to make it look real." And I was like, "All right, just a little more power, a little more fast, and I think we'll get it." And she does it really. And 5th time she hits, and we're almost there. And I was like, "Okay, cool." And they're like, "One more." My cameraman, he tells me, "Let's get it one more safety." I said, "Sure." So 6th time safety, bang, she hits it. It looks good. It sounds good. And we're like, "All right, cool." We go to film the next part, and Mark stops and he goes, "It'd be really." So what's that? And he goes, "If you guys did that and then you didn't react, like she hits you as hard as she can with it, and you just sell it." And so a 7th time, and he's like, "Yeah, just one more, and just do your best not to sell it." And I was like, "Okay, sure." So, and this is the take of the movie. She wallops me with this 2x4, and she actually hits me so hard in the mask and the hood that you watch the board splinter on impact, and it like pieces of wood spray off of it. I wish this was like a movie thing. I wish it was movie magic. No, it was a 2x4. It was her really hitting me with it, and I felt fine. I was good. That was our last day of filming. Looked great. Got the rest of the house. Go home. It's an 1.5-hour drive home. 2-hour drive, or maybe it's 2 hours. And I get home, sit down on the couch, put my arms up to rest, and all of a sudden, so suddenly, my neck hurts so bad. And I was like, maybe we just wait for the prop 2x4 next time. And still got that prop 2x4, and we filmed that in late 2017. Still haven't 2x4. So,
how long did you have a bruise?
No bruising. No bruising. My neck was sore for a couple days. Didn't really affect life or anything. The instant my arms went up, I thought to myself, you could have gone with that 6th take. That was it. That was the worst part of it. Neck was a little sore. Arms went up, and I was like, you should have started 6th take.
Yeah. Oh my God. Hey Matt, your turn.
Oh, is it? Is it my turn? Okay.
It's your turn.
I kicked you off. I didn't know what was going on.
As a small filmmaker, though, what are some of the problems you face when you're doing your shoots? There are things you wanted to do that you couldn't because of the budget, or?
Oh well, so living in Arizona, you're allotted a lot of weird areas to film right out of the gate. And people, it's easy to get in contact with former landowners or current landowners, and just being able to film out there. My first feature film, which I will never ever talk about because it's an abomination against God. I wanted to do this shot of Dracula, and I wanted to be the young, Vlad the Impaler, long hair and a suit of armor, and I wanted him to be in the foreground of a shot with a castle background. Mm-hmm. So in Vail, Arizona, there is a castle that a man built. It's called the Aqua Verde Castle. But you can't go up to and that's fine because it's got a bunch of mountains and hills around it. So me and my actor went out and we filmed that, and it was great. Great. Well, the wind was blowing his fake long hair. Had the castle in the background, and we lost the footage.
Oh.
Yeah. We had an editor up in Phoenix work on it, and he deleted it, and he deleted it completely, and he said, "Well, I don't really necessary for the story." And I was like, you didn't think it was necessary, so you just completely deleted it. That's cool.
Oh.
So, being so small is that, you have to sometimes outsource your production, and because not everyone knows how to do everything. So you got to find somebody in Phoenix or Los Angeles, and they may have a different interpretation of what you want. And even when you send them the script, it's a little unprofessional to delete something from somebody's movie and be like, it's gone forever now. I didn't like it, even though you're the writer, director.
I'd be pissed. Having
to outsource. Oh, I was. Didn't work with them ever again after that. In my opinion, the movie suffered quite a bit from. But yeah, it's having to outsource, having to find actors, having to find. Luckily enough, my day job is I am quieter at the OK Corral, but all of us are involved with film. And one of my coworkers he's in love with filming. Like, he's always buying cameras and new equipment. So, like, I'm so lucky to have people like around that know how to do these things. But it's got to the point where now I am writing, I'm directing, I am producing, and I am editing. And,
many
the
hats
first one I
then.
will have. Oh yeah, the first one I'll have 100% edited is going to be Fireside Tales 2. That's just because you'll work with somebody else, and sometimes it doesn't work. Their time frame is too long, or there's just a lot of problems. So I just Robert Rodriguez is it, and put on all the hats, just do it all. That financing is always something that's just in horror. I don't think that's independent horror. I think that's just horror. I'll listen to Adam Green and Joe Lynch on the movie Crypt. Guys finding financing, having to basically do everything yourself. So there's a lot of small things, but there's a lot of small things that build up to becoming problematic when you have to face them all together at the same time. Mm-hmm. So it can be, it's hard. Yeah, I hope that answered the question well.
Oh yeah, of course. But now, what inspired you when you were younger, saying, "Hey, this is it. This is what I want to do for the rest of my life"?
Well, totally, absolutely a long story. I'll do the shortest version of it I can. I remember very distinctly there was a haunted house, and I think it was called American Horrors in Phoenix in the late 80s, early 90s. And my parents went, and they took me and my brother, and I only remember 2-3 things from it. The first is, right when we walked in, all these teenagers were in front of us screaming and shouting. They're just so terrified. And you look dead ahead, and there was an actor, Jason Voorhees. And I was 4 or 5 years old. I was little, and I had my cheap Walmart Jason mask on my head, pulled up so I could see everything. And Jason looked up. All these kids are screaming, and he stops. Maybe it's because I was a kid. Maybe it's because I was wearing the Jason mask. And instantly, right there, I was like, "Oh, I love Jason Voorhees." But at the end of the haunted house, and completely not related to the beginning, there's so many other things in it. But these were the biggest parts of the haunted house. Freddy Krueger jumps out, and he's your last scare. And I remember I was like that just scared the hell out of me. A couple years later, my brother and I were watching TV at my grandma's house late at night, and they were doing Silver Bullet. They were playing Silver Bullet, and it was playing on a local TV network. And the commercial were cutting to this thing called Old Tucson Studios Nightfall, which is another haunted house. And they had camera showing the scary story play that they were doing, and it was this old time marshal, this 1800s marshal, taking on a town of the undead. And so it's going from Silver Bullet to this zombie gunfight, and back to Silver Bullet. And I kind of from horror a little bit as I got older. Turned into a teenager and stuff. I got really into professional wrestling and mixed martial arts, and I decided I was going to be an MMA fighter. And that went really well. I ended up getting sponsored by the same company at the time that was sponsored from Bo Slice, a company called Triumph United. They were really cool, would send us free gear and stuff. And I was good at it. I was good at getting into fistfights, I guess. But it came down to it one day, and I was 22. And I was talking to my parents, and I was training that day, and I had my eye. It was bruised. Black eye. It was a tiny little dot. And my mom just about broke down. She started crying, telling me that I couldn't do this. I was too smart for this, and all the the stuff a mom would say. And my dad kind of reiterated the sentiment, and he told me, "Well, maybe you should give something else a try. You like movies. You liked scary movies a lot when you were younger. So maybe make a short film." And I was like, I don't really want to. Hugh was an actor in the 80s. Nothing huge, just smaller parts here and there. He worked with Dennis Hopper and guys like that. So it's he's offering me kind of the torch, carry it on, in my opinion. And I ended up taking his advice just to, it's my dad and my mom. And I said, I got really sick. I had pneumonia and ended up watching Hatchet one day, and I watched the special features. And it was the first time in my life I'd ever watched a special feature of anything. And Adam Green, basically, I went out, filmed on this swamp with a camera I rented with my friends. And one of my friends' little girls do, and that's how we made our movie. It got noticed, and people started offering us money, and I was like, well, it's that simple. So I called up my friend Chris. He's like, yeah, I'd love to make a movie. Let's do it. So we sat down one night when I got a little bit better, and we watched a couple more movies, a couple more making ofs, and we decided we could do it. So we wrote a short script called The Hog, and it took us maybe 3 weeks to film it. It was only about 15 pages long. We've never done anything, so it took us a long time. In retrospect, that's incredibly long, but we ended up doing it. Got a couple people, got my uncle involved and stuff. We wrote it together, directed it together, and he edited it. And Twitter had just gotten really big at that point. I had just got a Twitter account. It's like, oh, this is how you do it. You share it and people notice and they'll share it, and then they'll just offer you money to turn this into a feature film. So that's not how it happens. Let's stop right there. That's not. You have a Twitter account, you share your movie, somebody tells you it's awful and you should kill yourself, something I've actually got, but that's the way the internet society is.
Yeah.
A lot of people liked it, and as I got a little more, I believe more, I suppose. I ended up sending it to Lloyd Kaufman from Trauma Films. And
Nice.
Lloyd wrote me back, and he, right where everybody could see it, he retweeted it with a comment so everybody could see, and he goes, "This is the best first attempt at film I've ever seen."
Oh.
And at that moment, I was like, "Oh, this is for the rest of my life," because Lloyd Kaufman said it's good. So, so 2010 is about when that happened. Just around. So now at this point, 2020 will be 10 years of me making movies. And I'm now in production on my third feature. So, yeah. So I guess that answers the question. Horror's always been a thing, but the movie making didn't come until later in life. I was about 22, 23 years old, yeah.
All right, Vane, back to you.
Wow. I feel like we're in a tennis match. So, what's your process when you're writing? Do you just write it all at once in like a few minutes, or what's the process?
So I think about it. I get the initial idea, and I refuse to write anything down because the process will grow. And I'll talk to friends and I'll talk to family, and I'll be like, "This is my new idea. This is my new thought." And so I'll say something, or I will hear something, or I will rethink something completely. And it usually takes about 2 to 3 weeks of thinking about it. And then I sit down and I just write. And it's not the easiest process in the world. There was like more to me setting up for it, because it is hard to go back and think about, what was this thought? And I probably should start writing, but I don't. But I'll sit down, I'll end up writing, and I'll do my best to write 6 to 12 pages of a writing session. And I have to do it late at night because I have a little girl, and she takes up the majority of my day when I'm not at work. Mm-hmm. So I don't want to interfere with that. So I wait for just it to be me, and I will turn on music. It can't be lyric music. I'll start listening to the lyrics, and I'm like, oh, time to sing along. So it has to. It's usually like movie scores or things like that. Right now, Fangoria just released Hollywood Doom, or Holly Doom. That's what it's called, Holly Doom synth score, and
right.
Corin Hardy's on it and stuff. And that's what I'm listening to right now. And I'll write 6, 12 pages usually, and that's not the number I aim for. It's just usually before I look at the clock and it's 3 a.m, and I'm like, oh, I have work in a couple hours, time to go to bed. But yeah, it's about 6 pages usually. And I do go back and I rewrite it, and that's usually the thing is I will go back and rewrite it a couple times before somebody sees it. An actor will be like, oh, you have to rewrite this, or do you have to add? And I'm like, no, it's good where it is right now. Usually, if I don't feel like I can go back and rewrite it, if something is sticking out and it feels too overwhelming, I'll send it to my friend Chris in North Carolina. That's where he lives now, to help me film The Hog. I'll send it to him, and he will do edits and suggestions, and he'll send it back to me. And so the writing process for me takes maybe a month or 2. I feel that's pretty long, like Sylvester Stallone writing Rocky. Took him. I wish I could do that.
Oh boy, because I have weird dreams, like really weird, bizarre. It's like something you would be dreaming if you were on acid all the time, but I'm not.
Yeah.
So I usually pull from that, and I end up writing notes. But then around here, things get thrown away. So it's my problem.
I'm afraid I would just lose it. I wouldn't even throw it away. I'd just lose it. And I'd be like, "Where's that paper with all my notes? I don't remember any of this because I wrote it all down." That's So I don't.
Yeah, I have notebooks and small notebooks of notes, but somehow they get lost or thrown away, and I'm like, damn it. Okay, so how do you get a film project together? I mean, what does it take? Let's talk about that. What do you do to get it put together?
Yeah, there's a lot that goes into it. So it starts with me with the writing. Once I write it, I will. I have a few different producers myself. Not all of them are financial producers. When people hear the word producer, they immediately think, "Oh, that's money." Some versions of producers are money, but you're producers, blind producers, and they will do different jobs. And so I will then move to a producer, and usually two of them, and we will begin to discuss who we have in mind. If we don't have an actor on the radar, then we will kind of outsource from our usual group of people. From there, it moves into, because I also cast these things, so I'm kind of like the casting agent, I guess, too. So me and the producer for casting will cast. As we cast, we'll begin to pick up props throughout the process, usually with the most expensive prop first. So everything after that seems just really easy because you're not spending that much money now. Because I don't know if you know, if you happen to have one of these silicone masks from like Immortal Max, but their starting is about $500 a piece.
Oh, yes.
How they come standard.
Yes.
If you want $500, well, yeah. So usually our monster, and I guess that's not technically a prop to some, but our monster comes next as we're casting, and then we move into location scouting, and then filming. And now, most recently, because I'm a guerrilla filmmaker, so everything's kind of on the spot, on the fly. I tell them what to do as we're out there. I'm like, move this way. The camera will rotate around you. But my cameraman for the last 4 years, 2 years, something like that. It's been a long time. Like for the 80th time recently, he's like, "Hey, storyboard, please storyboard, please storyboard, or I'm not going to do this." And I was like, "Okay, fine." So now I'm storyboarding. So a lot goes into it. It's just you have to make sure you have the time. And Arnold Schwarzenegger and Dwayne Johnson both say you have so much time in your day that you have time for everything. It's not about I don't have the time. It's about what you consider worthy of your time. Because most of us are at least 12 hours a day, but the majority of us only work 6 to 8 of those hours, and then we go home and we watch TV and go to sleep. But an average day for me starts at 6 a.m. Wake up, I'll go to the gym, I'll go to work, I'll come home, I'll write, I will film, and it's just a whole. Basically, I'm always going until I lay down and go to sleep. But yeah, it's a whole long process. A lot goes into it. I guess finding finance is usually a thing. I have a producer that is usually pretty good to go, or I will have a set of producers that are usually just ready to go. They tell me, I can put in this much money, I can put in this much money, and that happens right around the same time as you start casting. At least for me, we start going into the finances of it, and yeah, that does happen right around casting. You find out who you can get and who you can't get. So yeah, big long process.
Wow. So, for casting, like, who do you go to, or what do you do for that?
I'm lucky because I work with, and so I can go to them and say, "Hey, does this interest you?" They're always first up on the slate. They always get first shot of that and it's very Rob Zombie of me. It's very John Carpenter of me, because they all work with the same people. How many times was Russell in a John Carpenter film? How many times is Ted or Bill Moseley in a Rob Zombie film? And that also creates a little bit of a comfortability because they know what I want, I know what they can do. But the guys I work with always get first shot at roles, and then I will. The problem there, though, is that reenacting a world famous event, it is only the character involved. So I don't work with any female actors. So I always have to outsource for that. And in a small town in almost Mexico, it's hard. So you basically have to do you have to find them, and you'll be out getting dinner, and you'll be at the drive-through window, and they'll lean in, and the way they react with me, the way they will talk to their coworkers. If you ever wanted to be in a movie, and they're like, "Oh yeah," and sometimes it works out really well, and they get money, and they take on acting, and sometimes it doesn't work well, and it's a terrible experience for everybody involved. But it's hard. And then sometimes you'll put out a casting call for people up in Tucson and Phoenix, and that's an hour and a half away. Phoenix is 2.5 hours away, almost 3 hours away, and that becomes problematic because that's them taking off an entire day of work, because actors out here still have day jobs. They take off an entire day of work, and they drive so far, and they film so late at night, and they have to either drive back or you have to pay for a hotel room. So it's hard finding actors down here. That is the problem. Specifically, I suppose it's hard finding female actors.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Do you also do your own FX and makeup and everything, or do you have someone who does that?
Well, I have somebody in-house that does it for me. So I did earlier, my dad did some filmmaking or some movie starring, I guess I don't know how you say, he did some acting. There you go. Did some acting in the 80s. And they told him right as his career was starting to take off, they're like, well, you're going to have to move to California. And that's not what he wanted to do. So he said no. So he got involved with special, and the same thing happened. They eventually told him, you're going to have to move to California. He's like, no, I'm good. Became an engineer. So anyway,
wow,
he does it the majority. But as he gets older, this is what he tells me. I don't believe a word of it. But as he gets older, he doesn't want to mess it up. He doesn't want to, one time, and it's a story. One time we're working with an actress, putting a prosthetic appliance on her, and the big process with makeup is you have to almost sit completely still the entire time. And he had told her a couple times, he's like, hey, sit still. And I watched a bit of a wiggle bug. And as he was applying the bridge of the nose, she was wiggling too much, and it caused the liquid to drip down onto her eye. And at that point, he cleaned it off, and he got done with makeup. And he looked me in the face. He's like, yeah, I'm getting too old to do this. Like, she could have got hurt. He's like, I don't want to do this anymore. But I've got him back into it a little bit, but I'm working with a guy right now. The movie he's working on with me most recently hasn't seen the light of day, may not see the light of day, just because editors, I want to say it, but there it is, trusted the wrong people and sit on it forever. But there's a movie called Zoomer, and there was he had created a beautiful, many beautiful special effects for us in it. But it was his name's Charles Hines. If anybody's listening that also makes independent film, find Charles Hines, pay him a lot of money to do your special effects work, because he is good. He's very smart, thinks outside the box, and he does some stuff I haven't seen before. And then right now, my girlfriend is getting into makeup effects now too. So I'm creating my own little makeup team, actually. So
nice.
Hopefully some big things will be coming.
And there, you could get more money that way, outsourcing to do makeup jobs.
That's right.
Hey, Matt, back to you.
Well, I mean, you got anything else, Bane, or?
No, other than anything that is coming. Is there anything coming out that we'll be seeing soon?
I would say that Fireside Tales 2 will probably be out. It'll be done this summer, before summertime, hopefully, actually. And then it will probably be releasing in October.
Oh.
But we're very excited. I don't want to give too much away outside of Fireside Tales 2. But our next projects deal really and very specifically with the classic Universal monsters. So that outside of Fireside Tales 2, we want to kind of do a big throwback. My next row of feature films are just going to be classic monsters.
Oh, nice.
Well, I guess in that thing, then we do the traditional final question here and just tell everybody where they can find you.
Oh, yeah, sure. You can find me on Catch Me Kill Me, Instagram at Catch Me Kill Me, and Facebook is Catch Me Kill Me Productions.
All right.
Oh, thank you so much, Ian.
Hey, thank you guys for having me. I really appreciate it.
And we've been talking to Ian Messenger from Catch Me Kill Me Productions. Soon to come out, Fireside Tales 2. And we will let you know as soon as we know.
country, the home of the free, to say goodbye to the American dream. Put aside Republican lies, everyone's carrying guns and knives. Say farewell to the American dream. Say farewell to the American dream. Intolerance, different equals evil, small-minded judgments, and burning cross. Say farewell to the American dream. Say farewell to the American dream. Hollywood dreams, shallow hell, picture perfect is all that will sell. Say farewell to the American dream. 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 Say farewell. To the American, 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 American dream.
It's got a death curse. Will never come back again.
Tonight is the 4th anniversary of Lights Out. After 4 years of fantasy and imagination, chills and thrills, Lights Out celebrates by bringing to the microphone the internationally known actor whose name has become synonymous with the unusual and fantastic. The National Broadcasting Company takes pleasure in presenting Boris Karloff in the first of a special series of Lights Out broadcasts.
Lights out, everybody.
Tonight, Lights Out presents another psychological drama, a play in which the principal part is taken not by the character himself, but his thoughts. The voice you are about to hear is that of the thoughts of one Darrell Hall, accused murderer, sitting in a courtroom awaiting the return of a jury which is to decide whether he is to live or die. And as he waits, the thoughts in his mind seethe and swirl. Seethe and swirl. Seethe and swirl.
Not guilty. Guilty. Not guilty. Guilty. Father in heaven, why don't I stop thinking those words? Words those jurymen are saying. He's guilty. He's not guilty.
He's guilty.
Not guilty.
Guilty.
Not guilty. He's not guilty. No, I've got to stop thinking of what's going on in that room. The jurymen. I've got to stop thinking of them. I've got to keep my head clear. I've got to figure things out. When did all this start? Yes, I remember. That night, Wayne and I were sitting in my room, talking about dreams. I remember he said...
Oh, come on, Darrell. Don't expect me to believe that one.
Well, I'm certainly telling you the truth.
A fellow with your imagination wasting his time teaching biology to a bunch of co-ed nitwits. No, sir, you should be writing fiction.
I assure you, my dear Wayne, I've told you the truth.
You're really serious?
Of course I am.
You actually mean that in all your life you've never had a dream?
Never.
Not even when you were a child?
To my knowledge, I've never had a dream in all my life.
Well, how do you like that?
I like it very well. I close my eyes, oblivion, and then I wake up. No nightmare hangovers for me, Peg.
Now, wait a minute, Darrell. Let me get this straight. You mean you've never even had a dream after, eating a Welsh rarebit at midnight or surrounding a dozen green apples or anything like that?
Believe me, Wayne, I've never had a dream of any shape, form, or description in all my life. A dream to me is just a word. Something that happens to other people, but not to me.
But everyone must dream.
Well, perhaps. But it just so happens that my subconscious doesn't work that way. I tell you again, I have never dreamt.
Well, what do you know about that? Just unbelievable, I tell you, unbelievable.
Yes, that's what he said. Unbelievable. It was unbelievable that I'd never dreamt. Then after a while he went away and left me there. It was early evening. But I remember that somehow, strangely, I was very tired. I sat down in the easy chair. Oh, I was so tired. I closed my eyes. I slept. And then it happened. A strange murmuring in my head. Yes, that's how it started. A murmuring as if in warning. And then in the darkness around me, strange faces lifting and falling. White faces, faces without hope, their eyes full of horror, their white, bloodless lips pleading wordlessly in a way that made the heart in me cry out in pity. And suddenly, I knew I was asleep and dreaming. Yes, dreaming for the first time in my life. And these faces I was seeing were things out of a dream. And even as I knew that, the dream was gone. Blackness. And yet I knew that I was still asleep. And I had a terrible feeling of foreboding, of a horror to come in that dream. What? How? I didn't know. But I wanted to stop sleeping. I wanted to open my eyes quickly before. And then I saw her moving slowly toward me out of the darkness that was my dream. At first, a white, wraith-like thing. And then I saw it was a woman. Yes, the body of a woman, but the face. Father in heaven, that face. Gross, unclean, thick, bestial brows, wrinkles of venery, the lecherous writhing of thin crimson lips that lifted from teeth, bright and pointed, and flecked with blood. Yes, a glorious body. and a face from hell. Closer, closer to me. And then she spoke one word.
You.
Yes, that's what she said. Kill. And as she said it, she moved closer. Her hands went out, her eyes. In my dream, I screamed. I awoke. I remember, just at that second, the clock on the mantel began striking. 5, 6, 7. Thankfully, I counted each chime, since the hearing of it meant that I was awake out of the horror of that dream. When the clock had stopped chiming, I sat there. My one thought was, if this be dreaming, let me never dream again. I heard a sound. What was that? I sat still, afraid to move. And then I laughed. It was my own heart, still pounding with fright at what I'd seen in my first dream. Oh, why do I sit here thinking of what has been? The jury in there, they've got to hang me.
Free him.
They've got to hang me. Guilty.
Hang him.
Free him. Free him. Free him. Free him. No, I mustn't think of them. Better to keep my thoughts on how it all started. Better to figure things out. Where was I? Ah, yes. Sitting there, listening to the beating of my heart, thinking of the horror of that dream. And then, suddenly, that strange, wordless murmur I had heard in my dream was whispering in my head again. Quickly as it began, it was gone. How could this be? I was awake. This was no dream. Then why had I heard that wordless entreaty? That same sound that had come from those miserable white faces that had floated before me while I slept. Why? I heard it. Sound behind me. Who? Why, yes, my friend Wayne. Must be he. Come back into the room, standing behind my chair, thinking I was asleep. I turned round and said, Wayne, is that you? Yes, I screamed. I screamed so loudly there was blood in my throat. For it was she again. That woman out of my dream. But this wasn't a dream. She was standing there, I tell you. She was standing there close to me, looking at me. And those lips out of hell said that one word.
You.
I jumped to my feet. No one in the room, no one, I tell you. I remember standing there, my head reeling. Who was she? Where did she come from? But there was no one in the room. Had there been anyone there? I didn't sleep that night. But by morning, I had it all figured out. 2 dreams. That's what it had been. And the second had been more vivid than the first. Why, of course. I'd never dreamed before. So, of course, my first dreams would seem reality. How easy it was to quiet the unrest in my mind. Easy to make oneself believe what one wants to believe. And yet, some measure of uncertainty remained with me. And Mary saw it in my face when I had dinner with her that night.
Darryl, do you mind if I ask you something?
What a question. Of course not.
Is there something wrong?
What do you mean with the dinner? Well, you know, this is my favorite restaurant.
With you, dear. Has something gone wrong at the university?
Why do you ask that?
The worry in your eyes.
Oh.
What is it, dear?
Oh, it's nothing. It's nothing important.
You changed your mind about loving me?
Mary.
Then tell me what it is, please.
All right. It's really nothing to concern yourself over. Just a dream.
Dream? Darryl, you dreamed?
Yes. Last night.
How How marvelous. Now you're normal even when you sleep.
That's right, isn't it? I'm back to normal, see, am I not?
And here I thought from the expression on your face that it was something really important.
Funny, isn't it?
And I suppose in your first dream you dreamt of a glorious, seductive woman.
No, Mary.
Ah, did you have a nightmare?
If you don't mind, let's not talk about it anymore. Shall we have our dessert now? Now, I suggest the hot green apple pie with cheese.
Gerald, was it as bad as all that?
Horrible.
Oh, that's cruel. Your very first dream, an unhappy one. Oh, well, I'm sure that if you dream again, you've more interesting times ahead. Oh, Dara, look at the time. 7:01, and we promised the Armstrongs we'd pick them up at 7:15. Dara, what is it? Your face.
Do you hear it?
Hear what?
You do hear it, don't you? The voices.
Voices? Dara, what are you talking about? Why, the people in this restaurant are most well behaved.
Gone. Just the way it was before.
Daryl, please, if this is a joke, please tell it to me. Daryl, what is it? What are you staring at? What's behind my chair? What's there, Daryl? Tell me what you see. Daryl, the table. Why did you throw over the table? Daryl, what is it? What is it? Why did you scream like that? What's the matter with you, Daryl?
Yes. She wanted to know why I had done it. Screamed, thrown over the table. They all wanted to know. But how could I tell them? Tell them of her, standing behind Mary's chair, that thing of degradation, and those lips saying, kill. I went home. Mary thought I was overworked.
Oh, no, darling, you've been working so hard. Go home and rest, dear. That's all you need, rest.
Rest. What good was rest? I had to reason things out. All my life I lived with reason, and now this horror. I had to know all about it. Now I was certain it was no dream. What I had seen there in the restaurant had been no thing of sleep. Hallucination. Yes, that was it. I had been working hard. Too much work was the answer, and rest would cure that. Yes, indeed. And so I rested through the next day. It was quite dark when I awoke. The phone rang. It was Mary calling to find out how I felt.
Are you sure you're...
Taking away the seconds. Would it happen again, this hallucination of mine? I waited. I heard no pitiful murmur of voices. Just quiet. So dark in the room. I could see the shadowy emptiness of a chair near the other wall. And then the chair was no longer empty. There was someone in it. I said, "Who's there? Answer me, who's there?" No answer. The strange darkness in the room. Deeper and deeper, I could see nothing, and then, through swirling pools of flame led right, closer and closer. I stood there, I couldn't move. Rumbling began in my brain. Fear, I tell you, fear tearing up my brain, louder and louder, while those red circles of light came closer and closer. Father in heaven, what was it? What? And then I knew. It was her eyes burning close into mine, into the brain of me, pounding one thought into me.
Kill, 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 kill.
Why did she say that? Why? Kill whom? Why should I kill? Why should I kill? If I had known then. The jury. They're coming back. The verdict. What? No, not yet. Still out. Oh, they've got to find me guilty. I've got to hang. I've got to. If I live. Oh, but I mustn't think of that. I must think of what happened. Where was I? Oh, yes. That woman. Her eyes pounding that word into me, and then gone again. But this was no dream. Then what? A voice within me whispered,
Crazy, crazy, crazy.
No, I was fainting. That horror was real as the breath in me. And with that realization, the cold misses of a wind blew around me and scratched at my heart. For if she was reality, somehow I knew that I was lost. And so it began. Night after night, at the stroke of 7. First, that wailing dirge of those lost souls. And then her writhing lips.
Kill, 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 kill,
Kill. Father in heaven, the words began pounding in my head so that even when she wasn't there, I heard them. I hid in my room. I didn't go out. People would see this madness that had come over me. I went nowhere. And soon I knew that they were talking of me.
I tell you, I don't know what's come over Daryl. Hides in his rooms, won't even talk to me. Something's wrong there.
And Mary.
Please, Daryl, you've got to let me see you. This talking over the phone, oh, darling, what's wrong? What's wrong?
And night after night, the horror of... And the greater horror of...
Kill, 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 kill.
Mary pleaded with me.
Daryl, if you love me, please let me see you, talk to you. Come over to my house tonight. Oh, please, Daryl, perhaps I can help you. Please, darling, please.
I didn't want to go, but I went that night. Perhaps she could help. Yes. Help me understand the madness of those wailing voices and drifting white faces. Understand the horror of that woman and that maddening word. Mary, so understanding, so gentle, she could help me. Clear my head of the madness.
Oh, Daryl, you're here at last.
Mary, help me. You will help me.
Oh, Daryl, your face so white.
Oh,
Don't talk yet. Sit here and rest.
I'm sane, Mary. Believe me, I'm sane.
Of course, dearest. Of course you are.
It's that madness outside of me, those white drifting faces moaning at me.
Rest, darling.
And that woman out of hell.
Woman?
Her eyes and lips telling me to... The time. The time. What time is it?
It's 7. Daryl, what is it?
I've lost track. I've got to get out of here.
Daryl, don't. Wait. Don't go.
Too late.
Daryl, what is it?
Too late.
Late.
You hear them, don't you, Mary?
I'll go call a doctor.
Listen to them. Their voices are so loud tonight. Listen, Mary.
Daryl, don't. There's no one here.
You hear them? You must hear them. What are they saying? Louder and louder, trying to tell me something. What are you saying, you out there? What are you telling me?
Daryl, stop!
They're gone. Faces, voices, gone. Now she'll be here.
Oh, Daryl, please, you're frightening me. Kill.
You hear her, Mary? You hear her?
No, Daryl, please.
Louder and louder and louder. I hear her. Sing out of heaven, go back, I tell you. Make her stop, Mary, make her stop. Stop it. She devil, you, what do you want of me? Stop it, stop it. I can't stand it anymore.
Kill, 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 kill.
Yes. 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 Go away. Go away. I'll kill.
Daryl, don't. Oh, my neck. Choking me. Daryl, no.
Kill. Mary. Mary! Yes. I had killed her. My sweet, gentle little Mary. Killed her with my own hand. I opened my hand. She fell to the floor. I went out into the street. People all around me, hurrying. I was in no hurry. What that woman had wanted, I had done. I had killed. I walked all night. It didn't matter where. And in the morning, I found myself on the campus of the school, before the very building in which a class was waiting for my lecture. I went in. I walked up on the platform and looked down into their faces. I said to them, "Ladies and gentlemen, my lecture for today will be on the subject of the selective factor in the evolutionary..." I stopped. A murmur in the air. Those voices again. But it was broad daylight. I'd never heard those voices in daylight before. What did they want of me? What were they saying? There was a strangeness in their pitiful voices. Yes, like a dirge of tears and sorrow for someone. For me, yes, for me. And then her voice, laughing, triumphant. And I understood. For the first time, I understood everything. She had triumphed over me. That was why those lost souls were wailing a dirge over me. I was hers forever. I turned and ran out of there like a madman. Ran, and as I ran, those voices of the damned were talking to me. As we are doomed. No. Who murdered our doomed. We listened to her and now you are one of us. Those who murdered. No peace through all eternity. Rest for those who murdered. Through all eternity. I covered with my ears, with my hands, I ran. No use. I heard them. Only one hope for you, man. One hope. Expiate your crime. On the gallows. Pay for what you have done. On the gallows, and you shall have one hope, man. One hope. So that was it. My one hope. If I paid society for my crime, she would fail. I would be free of her, that thing, that essence of evil, that siren who called men to murder so that their souls would be slaves to her for all eternity. Yes, I'd pay for my crime. I ran on, back to Mary's house. Yes, I'd pay it gladly with my life to have the peace of the rest of oblivion. I went back into the house. Yes. Mary was lying there, cold. I lifted her. Those same hands that had crushed the life out of her lifted her and carried her out into the sun. My eyes were so filled with tears that I could hardly see where I walked. People began milling about me.
He's got a woman in his arms.
Well, where's he carrying her?
She must have fainted.
No, look, she's dead.
What? Who killed her? Hey, mister, who killed her?
I did.
Who killed her?
I killed her. With my own hands, I killed her. And please, I want to die for that. And then the trial. My friends, they wanted to save me. Clever eternities, sanity commissions, and twists of the law. But I wanted to die. I tell you, I had to die. If they set me free, if I lived and died as most men die, the death they call a natural one, then she would have me. No. I want to hang by the neck until dead. I want that noose around my neck. The trap beneath my feet, the jailer pulls the switch. My feet dancing in air. The noose strangling me as my hands strangle Mary. Pay for my crime and I'll be free. Free of that horror with the writhing lips and blood-stained teeth.
All in the court. All in the court.
The jury. They're coming in. Guilty. They've got to find me.
Gentlemen of the jury, have you reached a verdict?
We have, Your Honor.
The clerk of the court will read the verdict, please.
See the jury find the defendant Guilty of murder in the first degree.
Oh, guilty. You hear that, you thing out of hell? Guilty! Oh, hang me for the neck till I'm dead. I'll be free of you. I'll have peace. You failed, you beast. I'll pay for my crime. You'll never get...
What's he? He's fainted. Hey, stand back, everybody.
Doctor, right this way, doctor.
Ambulance, call an ambulance.
Stand back, please. It's no use. This man is dead. Heart attack.
Holy. Would you take a look at his face?
Yeah. As if he was looking at the devil himself.
Ladies and gentlemen, you have just heard the first play in a special series commemorating the 4th anniversary of Lights Out and starring Boris Karloff.
You sucked out her brains?
Yeah, right through her mouth.
Is she dead?
Of course she's dead. What, are you kidding?
And that wraps up another episode of EMZT Radio. Thank you to Ian Messenger for coming on and talking to us.
Absolutely. All right. Before we go, we got couple more stories to get to.
Okay.
I got something for you. We need to hop on out to California.
Okay.
California has a place called Dark Delicacies.
Oh, yes. That's my favorite store. I've been dying to go to.
It's now celebrating. It's going to be celebrating its 25th year. Good Lord. I see the date 1994, and I'm like, 15 years.
No. Longer.
25 years. I am getting old.
I'm older.
This is their 25th year, and it's an all-horror independent book and gift store.
Yeah.
So we definitely need to get these people over. Now, they are having some financial troubles at the moment.
Yeah, because they had a big rent hike that they can't afford. So they're in the process of looking for a new space, and Dell posted that he thinks he found a spot that's within their price range.
Yes,
and it's just down the block from where they are.
Right. Yeah. And there is a GoFundMe, which there will be a link in the show notes to. We'll be giving to this.
I'm giving I can only give a little bit, but I will give to this. Yes.
Hey, it's almost there.
Yeah.
You know, as we speak, they're within $5,000 of the goal.
Yeah.
So they're there. Let's give it to them, people. Let's pitch in. If you don't support anything for the rest of the year, pitch in to help independent horror. Just one time in your life.
Yes. This is a total worthy cause because they are basically an epicenter for horror.
Absolutely. One day I would love to do an EMZT podcast from this place.
Oh, fuck, yes.
I really would.
That is a dream goal, yes.
450 horror fans have come together to raise $25,000 of the fund as of the time we were recording this.
Oh.
That's just short of the $30,000 goal. Oh, my God, people make this happen.
See, that's the horror community coming together to take care of one of their own. Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
So, folks, Make it happen. Make it happen. Make it happen. Make it happen. It's on our Facebook page. It is in the show notes. Do it. Help out Dark Delicacies.
And that store is awesome. They do book signings, and they also get people from actors and directors and writers to go down for celebrity meet and greet. And if they're have their movies, their autograph, they have autograph sessions, picture sessions. They do this. They try to do it on a weekly or a monthly basis, where they get members of the horror community come out and meet the people.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, I really like that.
So, folks, let's let them see their 25th anniversary, okay?
Yeah.
Get out there and do what you can for these wonderful, 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 wonderful people.
And absolute horror fans. In fact, Dell had mentioned that they made only a little bit of money off this because it's their dream job to do.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And finally, this is something else that we're going to link to in the show notes. We're also going to link to on the Facebook page. We're going to link to everywhere we can find it. I have actually seen the first episode of this.
Of?
And this is amazing. If you are looking for something creepy to binge, go check out Hellier.
What?
Kentucky Goblins documentary series called Hellier is free. And I guarantee you, folks, I'm telling you right now, this shit will hook you.
Oh.
It's a 5-part documentary series that is out to uncover a true story, or if a story is true. It follows an investigation into unsolved mysteries, impossible synchronicities, and a web of high strangeness which stretches from the heart of Appalachian coal country.
Ooh.
So episode 1 is out for Hellier. You need to check this. Actually, all 5 episodes are out. So you know what you're doing this weekend. Just cancel all your plans for the weekend and just binge the shit out of this. Okay? I'm just going to tell you right now. You'll love it. We all love it. Let's, binge the living shit out of this.
Sounds good.
So I guess that's just about it, isn't it?
Please check out our links. Buy our T-shirts. They also have very nice hoodies. We have
nice
pictures.
Hoodies. Yes, they have nice hoodies. And we like our hoodies.
We like our hoodies. Mr. UK took it to the UK. And hopefully we're going to be getting some more sales because people just love our hoodie.
Yeah, hoodies. Go buy a hoodie. Because, my God, it's cold outside.
It's freaking cold.
Actually, it's not cold today when we're recording our stuff, but it's been like bone-chillingly cold. I could have used one of them.
It's 59 degrees right in Arizona. Well, at least my part of Arizona.
It's colder here, so.
Well, I believe it, yes.
Yeah, it's like 55, 56, something like that. But we just got out of the 20s. Over the weekend. I swear to you, man, over the weekend, it literally went from 75 degrees to 20.
Jesus.
Yeah. Mother Nature went, oh, y'all thought y'all were done with winter. Nah,
nope.
Watch this.
And do check out all our links for all our friends, our band friends, all our filmmaking friends, all our artistic friends. Check out their stuff, buy their gear, buy their merch.
Buy their shit.
Buy their stuff. Yeah.
Remember, your shit is stuff. Their stuff is shit. So there you go. George Carlin for you. A little George Carlin right there, folks. Isn't it funny that your shit is stuff and their stuff is shit?
Thank you, George.
Yes, always. The Church of Carlin will always remember their patron saint.
And stay tuned for another episode of EMZT Radio.
Fried chicken.
They're not like the Loch Ness Monster, Dean. Dragons aren't real.